Jason, who deserves a lot of credit for organizing a lot of these things. Thank you, Shreya. Asked me about 3 weeks ago if I wanted to say anything, and I had something prepared back then, but now it seems a little bit trite. So I actually started from scratch this afternoon, and this is what it evolved. About 3 weeks before Sukkot, I finished an excellent book, which I recommend to anyone. It's called The Last Jew by Noah Gordon. It's a historical fiction story about a man who gets left behind from his family during the Spanish Inquisition and tries desperately to maintain his identity as a Jew. I can honestly say that while reading the descriptions of the events and horrors of that period, how smug I felt that all of that was in a distant past. But the follow-up to that motion needs no explanation. Yesterday was the Shloshim for the 1400 plus Kedoshim, and I, like most of you, was in a fog for the last few weeks. And I can't say I've come to terms with any of it, but as the initial shock of disbelief starts to wane, a new round of emotions is sprouting, as there are daily announcements of young, beautiful soldiers dying on Kiddush Hashem. In addition, the status of the hostages is still a baffling predicament. And now, even more terrifying and confusing is the newest wave of blatant anti-Semitism and anti-Semitism waiting to explode. New questions have come from my teenage children, who have been so unusually comfortable with their Jewishness and surroundings, and now asking and trying to reevaluate what it really means to be Jewish in this world. On the flip side, I've never been so awake. If you haven't heard, this operation has been given many names, such as swords of iron, but one of the names that has begun to stick in Israel is the operation Mashiv Haruach. We started saying Mashiv Haruach the morning of the attack, and in true Hasidic style, this line can also be translated as return of the spirit, and its concomitant Morid HaGashem, or suppression of Gashmias. Personally, as a lover of the Sidra, these early parshiot have never been so inspiring. Creation of the world is evidence of our purpose, the Hamas of Noah's time and its destruction, Sodom and Gomorrah and a visual of the smoking buildings in Gaza, Lot being taken hostage and saved, and Avram's realization there was not even one single good soul left in Gaza, still. The year 1948 from creation was the year Avram was born. 1956 from creation was the year Sarah was born. 1973 was the year Avram and Sarah married. Year 2000 from creation, Avram escapes Nimrod's furnace and flees to Haran. And the year 2023, Lech Lecha Me'artzecha was stated, and the start of the War of the Kings. We are part of history. We are still here. As we speak, Israel is entering the heart of Gaza City. Stay tuned. And then, last week, there was the story of the Akedah, and the question returned: how can a father love their child so much and yet be prepared to kill them for God? Would we ever pass that test? And yet, as Daniel Gordis points out in his very beautiful book, Home to Stay, every mother, father, and grandparent in Israel passes this test every day, risking the lives of their own children for love and commitment to a power and cause maybe they don't even understand. Bereishit Rabbah develops the complexity of these emotions. It reads, then immediately Avram stretched out his hand and took the knife. As he stretched out his hand to take the knife, his eyes were flowing with tears. His tears were flowing into Yitzchak's eyes because of the compassion of a father on his son. Nevertheless, his heart was happy to do the will of his Creator. Midrash doesn't hide the paradox. Could he have not suppressed the tears knowing he was performing God's will? Should he have not done so? Absolutely not. Hashem desired this normal human feeling to be had. His test was to show his devotion as a human being, not as a machine. It was his human perfection that was displayed, and then he was answered. Mi shanal Avram avi bahar Amariyahu yaninu. Avraham davened. We have no doubt, and he was answered. Curiously, I've not seen anger at Hashem. I've seen love of Hashem and understanding that He has a plan. Despite the comparisons, I suspect how different this is from pre-Holocaust Europe. But that leaves the question so much of us are asking: what is our role? How do we not just sit in the background? And without much further investigation, I want to make something relevant spoken by the Lubavitcher Rebbe and his followers during previous wars. The Rebbe screamed at the top of his lungs during the previous wars at the Israeli government and military leaders. We have videos and have it in writing. He made 6 points, like the 6 sides of the Magen David. The first point: do not compromise the lives of soldiers for political considerations. B. Decisions about war should be made by military and not politicians. C. Finish what you start. No ceasefires. You have to finish the job. D. Embarrass the enemy. It's worse than killing them. Celebrate your victories. E. Winning is good for everyone, including your enemies. F. Don't ask permission from the world. And his followers and believers shout, how can you not listen to this? It is not so obvious. Baruch Hashem, it sounds like this time around they are coming to their own same conclusions. But as someone very wise said, if you say listen to the Rebbe, do you listen? When he says, do not compromise the lives of the soldiers, do not compromise your Yiddishkeit. Decisions about war should be made by military. Advice about how to be Jew should be decided from Rabbanim and not by current trends. Finish what you started. You have to finish the job, meaning commit to a sustained way. Don't go back to your old practices. Embarrass the enemy. Embarrass the Yetzer Hara. Winning is good for everyone, including the Arabs. This is the opportunity to teach non-Jews. Honor yourself. People who live without God are confused about the definition of being human being. And last, don't ask permission from the world. Translate, never be ashamed of being a Jew. The Zohar says, Tefillah is a time for battle. Piskei Tshuva say, the custom of wearing a gartel relates to girding oneself for battle. So if you see more people putting one on, don't be shocked. This coming Shabbos in Yirtzeh Hashem will be Shabbos Mevarchim, Parshiot Chayei Sarah, Chodesh Kislev, the month of Hanukkah. Some say the end of Tshuva season was Hoshana Rabbah. Others agree that the door is still open until Hanukkah. Sarah and Rivka's candles both burned from one Shabbos to the next. This was a prelude to the burning bush. This was a prelude to the very miracle of the oil that exemplified both the quantity and quality of the Jewish people. We are going to see miracles again, Rabbi Sai. May this conflict end very soon, and the Yerah of Mashiach Tzidkenu, Bahashta B'Galav Zman Kariv, Mar Amen.